What's up, AfterBuzzers? We here in LA survived the earthquakes, but are we going to survive season 2 of Big Little Lies? Well, let's get talking because tonight it's Celeste versus Mary Louise here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes! It's Happy Sunday, everyone. That means Big Little Lies, episode 5. Kill me.
We're back.
We are so back, and the full panel is back. So I'm
We're
so
here.
happy to be with you all, amazing women. So I'm your host, Ollie Drennan, resident Reese Witherspoon superfan. Just saying, I'm here with an amazing panel, like I just said. Who do we have here? Simone Thomas. She is our social media queen.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, girl?
Good. How are you?
I'm fabulous because I'm looking at these amazing women next to me. And next to Simone, we have Mia Brabham back.
Hello. I loved your intro. That gave me the chills. It was my favorite today.
Oh, you're too kind. She is our special segment, Mia. Special segment queen. She's got us covered. I'm super excited for that, so stay tuned. And next to her, joining us back is Jessie Zahner in the house.
I'm so happy to be back.
Yes, of course, absolutely.
Yes.
Happy 4th to everyone.
Yes.
Also, Jessie, you are our news and gossip queen. Absolutely. And you're also our mama.
Yeah.
And our wife.
Yeah.
So she has...
She's everything to us.
She's going to educate us.
Literally.
And school
I don't
us.
know anything, so yeah.
Well, we do also have a live chat if you're tuning in.
Yes.
Join the discussion because we love hearing from you. You are just a part of the show as we are. And so yeah, episode 5, Kill Me. A lot of this episode was amazing because I think a lot of it was about reactions and reacting. Should you react? Should you give a reaction or not? Should you be like the bigger person? I see that we're seeing that in Celeste's storyline with Ziggy and the boys. Are they going to react to the bully? And so it's just, Renata, are you going to react to Mary Louise, which we'll talk about? So what are your initial thoughts on this episode? And if you guys weren't here last week, Mia and Jessie, if there's anything that stood out to you last week, please let us know for initial thoughts.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will just first say, in the very beginning, I thought there was going to be a fight with Nathan and Ed, and I'm just going to say I'm Team Ed. I was like,
yeah,
yes, take him
course.
down. We hated him. We were cheering for it. We were like, Ed. So that's like a fun little rivalry, and it's very interesting because Simone and I watched Devil Wears Prada yesterday, and just seeing Meryl Streep. I know we talk about her all the time. Like, stop talking about this, but I can't get over like really seeing her in a different role than seeing her again this week. Just like Mary Louise coming for filth again. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. No. Just to piggyback off of that, to see, we all know Meryl Streep is amazing, but to see the drastic difference between a role like Miranda and The Devil Wears Prada, and then in this role she's so matronly and like just an old miserable woman. I mean, she's miserable in The Devil Wears Prada too, but like a different way. It just speaks to her talents. But my general thoughts, I feel for like all the parents are just like having parental issues.
Right.
Like Renata, her daughter knows they're broke. The facades are all cracking, and the kids are definitely clued into it. They're not stupid at all.
It's interesting to see how they react to it, the kids.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too, because like, what kid like gets bullied in this way? But maybe it happens. It's really sad. But this episode is giving me so much anxiety because when they all met up, I'm like, number one, if anybody catches you guys together, you're dead.
Yes.
But also like now the issue of like perjury and things like that could take place going forward. I'm like so scared for these guys.
It's getting messy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that scene.
Yes.
Well, not that scene, but what led up to that scene, which was initially... The whole episode was really based on Mary Louise versus Celeste, the fight of the century over custody of the boys, the twins. And so what were your thoughts on kind of like how Celeste is handling the situation of not react? Okay, well, Celeste is reacting, clearly. And there was this whole issue with the settlement. And, you know, why don't you just have the boys on weekdays? I'll have them on weekends, Celeste. And then you also take in your management. And of course, Celeste is not having it. So what are your thoughts on her? Should she react? Should she not? And her lawyer was just like, girl, calm down.
I wish Celeste had this type of energy in all other areas of her life, because she's not a feisty person. So for it to come out in this situation when she probably should be the most mellow is really interesting. But she doesn't have anger management issues, so they're definitely making that up or trying to make her seem more aggressive. And then, what was I going to say? I don't remember. But yeah, I feel for her just because, no, I'm not going to do Monday through Friday, have my kids when I hardly see them.
And you just showed up in town.
Right.
Yeah, and then give you primary, like, you're going to get all the weekends? That is not fair at all. That's when you, like, spend quality time with your kids anyway. And, I mean, probably it's not in her best favor to react like that, but I like that we're seeing more of that aggressive side of her because we never see that. She's always so subdued.
So also going off that point is about her not wanting them to be with Mary Louise during the weekends and things like that. Celeste spends so much of her time like trying to make it a point that the boys don't turn out like their dad. Like you can see her like thinking about what she's saying to them and trying to not make them aggressive and things. So I'm thinking like, gosh, is she worried that if like they go off with Mary Louise, are they going to end up like their father? Or like, it's just such a hard situation to be in because I think also she should be quiet, but it's such a hard thing because the lawyer is now telling us what she thinks. She's like, well, you actually got a pretty good deal because if this goes to court, then they're going to start asking about.
Yes.
See, I'm not a parent, so I don't really know, but I agree, but I have to disagree with the part where I think that Celeste is trying really hard to make sure they don't turn out like Perry. I actually think she's not trying hard enough.
Oh,
and to me,
really?
the biggest part in this episode is when her son called her a bitch. And she like flipped out on him, and this is the thing, and this is what really broke my heart, and I really wish I could have a talk to the director to know if this was a directorial choice. When he was, I don't remember which son it was, but he was just looking at Celeste after he said it, and she was like, you will not talk to me that way. He was looking at her for more. And I feel like Celeste, and they talked about this earlier in the season of like, what is that balance as a parent? Like, how transparent should you be with your children? But I feel like she needs to open the conversation with them. Like, you see Ziggy asking about his dad. These kids are looking to their mother to say, what your dad did was not okay, and I know you don't just turn out this way. You had to have seen something. Celeste needs to sit down with them and be like, your dad hit me, it was not okay, you will not be this way. But instead she's like, you're not going to talk to me that way, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do this because I said so. But they need to know that what he did was not okay, because she is the parental figure now, and I think she needs to put her foot down a little more with that.
I agree. I will give Celeste credit though, because she did say to the boys in this episode that we don't like your grandma. I don't want you living with your grandma. That's not going to happen.
Right.
So I do think that was a huge that's a huge development for Celeste, at least. But what gave me so much anxiety was the fact that all of the girls who were there on the accident, air quotes, are now on the witness list. So they can be called into court now, not only about Celeste as a mother, but also, and I know this is kind of more into predictions, but also they can be questioned easily about Perry's death.
Setting them up.
So, because they were all there, they have this connection. So, any more thoughts on that situation? Because that is scary. That terrifies me.
I wonder if Mary Louise knew what she was doing. She like try to take the kids, but then in turn know that if this goes to court, then the truth about her husband's death will also come into play. Maybe she wasn't like smart enough to think like that.
No, she was.
But
I think
this
you're
is her
right.
cover up.
I think you're right
to
with
get
that,
to the truth,
because she is so manipulative.
Yeah.
Like she is like pinpointing like every little thing that's going on.
Yeah.
She's on top of it. I think that's a good point.
She's like the disease.
She is.
She's the disease that comes and infects all the girls, the Monterey Five.
It's funny too to see the contrast of like all these women, like the Monterey Five, are starting to break down and like lash out, but you just see Mary Louise keeping her cool.
know.
See,
she's so manipulative, but it's funny because like these women are the ones who did the crime, but like she's just playing them like fiddles.
And it's funny because Celeste's lawyer wants Celeste not to react, but I feel like Maleficent. Let's call her Maleficent. Mary Louise is the one who's kind of not reacting. She's like listening to Celeste's lawyer, so it's really interesting, and it's working out in her favor. Obviously, she's keeping it cool. Celeste is yelling at her at one point, "You will not get my kids," but then Mary Louise is, "How are the boys? Oh, so calm."
My gosh,
and it's so fake.
I think that's her. tactic when it comes to just getting under people's skin, because even when she was at Renata's house, she stays very calm, and so her delivery seems nice, but there's complete shade.
And she's a therapist. She has therapist tactic too, where she gets to like, they're almost like, if you notice with every woman she's at an encounter with, she's like talking to them, and she's like, I see you, I understand you, like, oh, you must be working so hard, like you're never home with the girls. Oh, is it because you love money? And then all of a sudden she flips, and all the women are like, wait, what? She's scary.
It's so funny that you say that, because when she was talking to Renata, I was like, she's almost acting like a therapist, but like in a condescending, manipulative way. Like instead of like asking the question and being just like no, I don't know. There's something about the way that she asked it, and that's why she's such a great actress. That you like know, like she's good, but like she's running these women.
Now that makes me so interested in what the heck was her career beforehand. I'm sure she's retired.
Need to know. Give us answers.
I know. Maybe a therapist.
Yeah, I think she's a little unscrewed. And I have a question for you guys. What do you something you said, Simone, made me think this question. But what do you think is Mary Louise's motives? Like, do you think she actually even wants the boys? Really? Do you really think that she thinks Celeste is in danger or a danger to the boys? Or do you think she just wants to take something from Celeste because she knows something is wrong?
I think she wants a family. Like my perspective, I think she is so lonely to the point of she just wants a family, because her obviously we were talking last week about how her ex-husband left her after the death of Raymond, which was Perry's brother. So I think she just really wants to rekindle some kind of family, even if she's going about it completely the wrong way, even if it's completely toxic. We still don't know the fact whether she was abusive to any of the family members. Oh, excuse me. Any of the family members. Ooh, got a little raspy at that point. Got a little Shailene voice in me. Now, so we still don't know the full story, obviously. We'll get that, I'm sure, in the future, but yeah, I don't know. That was my
I think subconsciously, I agree with that. I think her son was taken from her unjustly, from her perspective.
Unjustly.
So having the boys, which is like an extension of herself, because it's her son's children, is like getting her son back in a way.
Right.
And then also she lost one son, so she could regain the son that she could
get 3 sons.
Yeah, because she's also after Ziggy too.
Well, that too, yeah. So if she gets the less kids, it's like having her 2 boys back and not like being able to redo her parenting without one of them dying, because Perry's brother died, right?
How did that happen?
Yeah.
We still don't know. It's an accident.
An accident.
Oh,
we know what accidents mean around Monterey. I don't know, on this coast. Who knows?
But I don't know. I just want to say really quick, I don't know what she's up to, but I think she has a vendetta against Celeste. And I think she is trying to take something from Celeste, because I think she thinks Celeste took Perry. So now she's like, I'm taking something from her. And if she takes her sons, then she's essentially like doing the same thing.
Yeah, taking
But think
everything.
about it.
Ooh,
the kids lose. Like, they already lost.
Totally, I know.
Their dad died. He's gone. So if they lose their mom,
I know.
she's still here on Earth, but that relationship is not going to be the same. So they lose the most. And if you're really their grandmom, like, you would care. Obviously, she's looking out for herself, even though she's making it seem like she's thinking about their interests first. It's about her. But the kids really are going to hurt the most in all of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one kid that's not hurting that much and knows the truth is Amabella. Which brings us to Renata, my girl. But before that, we just want to remind you guys, we love you so much for listening to us every Sunday, listening to us whenever you can, actually. If we don't listen in live, that's totally fine. Whether you're watching us, listening to us, just give us that 5-star review. It would really help us out so much. And we will even shout you out. And don't forget to share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your stories. Give us a like, comment. We love the discussion with you guys week after week. And I do want to shout out one quick 5-star review that was left by Boyne Key J from iTunes. It says, favorite podcast, 5 stars. So I just found out about you guys this second season. I love how you all talk/break down the show. I have no one to talk to about Big Little Lies here at work.
Talk to us.
Right.
Oh
and when I heard this podcast, I was like, OMG, these girls are my new friends.
And Ollie.
That's okay. You catch the little things I thought I'm the only one that noticed during the show. Love this podcast. Please add more episodes. Or can I join the podcast as a guest? LOL. And that is from Joanna P. in Burbank, California.
Thank you, Joanna.
So sweet, right?
That is so
Ollie,
sweet.
thank you for reading these. Because I don't ever really see these. I go onto YouTube and respond to the comments, but not iTunes. So this is always so nice.
That's
and
so
we swear we
sweet.
don't know these people. Like, we don't know. This is our new friend now. We don't know
So thank you, Joanna, and everyone that leaves us 5 stars. And if you do, like I said, we will shout you out if you give us that 5 stars. So really, really appreciate you guys watching us and
sweet.
listening to us. 'Cause
Thank you.
we love this show.
Yeah.
We do.
But we also love Laura Dern as Renata. We are kind of talked about her interaction with Mary Louise, but also I think it's so powerful seeing the items and the materialistic things that really represent Renata's confidence leaving, and they're depleting, and Mary Louise sees it, and it's really breaking down Renata. We're seeing that, and even Amabella knows that they're broke. She's not stupid. So any more thoughts on Renata before we move on? Because that was kind of the gist of her in this episode. But I do want to shout her out because we love our Renata.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just had a realization. So I think it's funny because, as you know, Renata's my favorite character. I love her. And I love when she was like, let me take a crack at her. Like, let me take a crack at Mary Louise. And then she was totally disarmed by Mary Louise.
Yes.
And we thought Renata would be the one to comfort her.
Yes.
Maybe she still will in a future episode. But I have to say, and this, like I said, this just occurred to me, but even though not a big fan of Mary Louise, I think she's manipulative and mean and has a vendetta, like you said, against everybody. But I do think it's interesting in the way that she disarms people, and that maybe it's making me think like the conversation that Renata had with Amabella when she was like, "'Cause we're broke, Mom," and she was like, "Listen, everything's not about money." I feel like if she didn't have that conversation with Mary Louise, Renata wouldn't have said that to her.
Yeah.
And I think that Mary Louise, she's a bad person, but in a way she's making these women look at themselves and all the bad qualities about them. Because also, like, Madeline's been more gentle. If you think about, she confronted her in the first episode. Like, she's become way more gentle and more self-aware of, like, all her negative traits, and so is all of the women, which is kind of maybe a good thing.
Wow, that's so
But
interesting.
we still don't like Mary Louise.
I also think it's like your downfalls will humble you, and
Right.
if you
Yes.
can't do it on your own, like with your own autonomy, then you like life will force you to be
Right.
introspective and do some change. So I think it's doing that as well for her.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be caught. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No.
No,
you're
sometimes you got to be caught in a big little lie. You got to humble yourself. You got to kill someone, push them off of the staircase.
Mary Louise, comfort me.
It really helps. You just got to be read by an old woman who's just probably a therapist, who's kind of psycho, borderline.
Both.
But yeah, so I love you, Renata. I'm sorry you're kind of removed from the women empowerment piece. That really sucks. Loved that photo shoot. But we do have to move on to someone who's not going through financial problems, but marital problems. And that is a couple, Madeline and Ed. So they go to like the couples retreat, which was very like cute, but also awkward. And I would not recommend that. But that leads to them kind of having this conversation of Ed bringing up the point when they first started dating. Madeline was asking these questions, being like an interview, maybe the next talk show host. I don't know. But it was basically, she was checking off these boxes, and it's almost as if, did she ever really love Ed, or did she love the idea of Ed? And so that's why I feel like Ed kind of, we saw him break down in the kitchen. Is his life, his whole story with Madeline and his family, has it been a lie? So what were your thoughts on Madeline and Ed in this particular episode? Because it's really sad.
I think, well, picking someone because they're practical, because that's what he said. He was like, you were interviewing me so you could know that I would be a good father. So I was a practical choice to you. And I don't think that's a bad thing. You don't just want to go and marry someone off of lust. I think it should be a balance of everything.
Good point.
And,
Celeste. Oh, no, I'm kidding.
well, yeah, that was really the only highlight with the relationship with Perry. Everything else was trash. So all around, like, maybe Ed wasn't the person that she wanted to like rip her clothes off for and like do all these crazy things, but he's clearly still a great husband, a really good dad, and very stable. And I don't think that's bad, but I think for him, like, her cheating and trying to get that sexual attention somewhere else makes him feel like he wasn't good enough to be intimate with. So, like, I'm a practical husband, but as a partner sexually, like, I don't fit those standards for you.
Yeah.
He is such a good man. Like, one thing, the first thing I noticed is in the car, when, you know, Madeline was saying all those things, he didn't say anything crude about her. When she was like, tell me how you really feel, he didn't call her names. He said it really, like, as gentle as he could, which is as a representation of him. But my question for Ed, I want to know, is, like, why, if he knew all those things and he said, I made peace with the fact that you just wanted me as stability, then why did he choose Madeline?
Yeah,
like,
that's
what did he see in her?
right.
Did he just also want stability? Maybe that's why he's staying. If you think about it, he's kind of like, why am I here anyway? My dignity, or like I leave, and I feel like he's scared to leave too because it's like what he knows.
Right.
Well, I was thinking, I'm like, if you felt like she was interviewing you on your first date, why would you go on another date with her? Like, that's such a
Right.
bad
Very
know.
true. Because Reese
To leave on
Witherspoon
someone.
is a goddess and she's gorgeous.
So true. I love her.
Maybe he was fooled by like the blue eyes, the blonde hair. I don't
Yeah.
know.
He
the
loves a
bombshell.
powerhouse.
I don't know. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, Simone. Like, really good point.
If someone did that to me, I'd be like, okay, bye, thanks, but next. Not doing
Yeah,
that.
I'm curious. What did he see?
Sylvia Woods said, poor Ed.
I know. I love it.
Yeah, he's...
Okay, well, maybe not poor Ed because we saw him at the end
Oh, my.
during that the trigger happy montage. Skipping ahead, but during that montage, it was confusing, right, Jessie?
I'm like,
But also, we see Ed
know
at
what
a
to do.
bar with a familiar woman with the boobs. Our girl Tori. She's not really our girl, but we saw her in the first episode. Tori is Joseph's wife. Who Joseph was the one who was in the affair with Madeline. And so I don't know what Ed's intentions are. I'm like, Ed, do you really want to do the eye for an eye thing? Meanwhile, Madeline's kind of just drinking wine on her porch, looking depressed. And then we just kind of get this hint that maybe Ed's going to hook up with Tori. And also, did we not just see Joseph watching them do that?
yeah.
It was confusing.
It's like voyeurism. Like, at least...
So weird.
Well, we don't know what it is. At least that's what... That was I got that.
It was so spooky because I feel like that whole entire montage too kind of felt very dreamlike.
I really wish we could rewind it and slow it down.
Yeah,
There was a lot to take in. And they
Yeah.
really just threw it at us at the
fast.
end.
Right. Jessie, any thoughts? Sorry, it's not to throw,
I don't
not to
know.
put you in the spot, but
I'm so confused by it. I mean, I think he's just catching them. I don't know.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're totally going
But
to
she
hook
wouldn't
up.
be that stupid to try to go after Ed with and not check her surroundings first. You think?
Maybe she's like, I give 0 Fs because they did it. So
That's true.
She knows about it.
Yeah.
maybe he just wants to watch.
Did someone say they were
That's what I was
swingers,
thinking.
though? Who was that
I
said
said maybe
that
they're
he was
swingers. Either they're swingers or they're
And she
into
knew.
voyeurism and they like to watch other people do stuff.
You know,
And they get off
What?
on that. I
good
don't
for
know.
them.
Yeah.
That's great and everything.
That was
but
confusing. Also,
I
how
know.
did they meet up at the bar? Are they friends? What's going
just a
on?
coincidence.
personally, I would ship Ed and Bonnie together.
Same,
So
yes.
I was kind of bummed that he went
Same.
with Tori. I'm
I
like,
agree.
really? The easy
Yeah.
choice?
Yeah, she is the easy choice.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have personality. I'm just kidding. I can't say that. We don't know if she doesn't have personality. We just like Bonnie, even
Yeah.
though she literally pushed someone down the
We do like
stairs.
Bonnie. No, that's why we love Bonnie. Well,
He was bad.
we love Bonnie.
So weak.
We love Bonnie for various reasons, but we also love Jane. She kind of had. I didn't think Jane was going to be in this episode a whole lot, but well, she had a tough episode because Ziggy. She finds out Ziggy and the twins. They're all brothers. Kind of gained, like they joined the fray and they did like a Avengers Assemble kind of thing.
I liked it.
And they beat
did
down
I.
a bully.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And obviously, we're anti-violence, but also
We were cheering.
Okay, I just contradicted myself because I just said we love Zoe Kravitz for pushing down Harry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
This is a
Only
good show.
if the victim is the one who triumphs. Then we root for the violence. But if it's... I mean, Bonnie, Celeste, they were the victims and they killed him. I mean, you know what I mean.
Getting ourselves into such a bad trap.
okay, let's
Tell us what you think in the comments.
yeah, let's reel it in with Jane because Jane. What my point was before I got sidetracked was Jane was definitely had a tough episode because I feel like she's fearing that that Ziggy's kind of going in the direction of something like violent, like
Yes.
Yeah.
Perry, and obviously Perry abused her, and she does not want that for Ziggy, and clearly we don't want that for Ziggy, and I'm sure she doesn't want the twins to go down that route either. But also with Jane, we saw her break down with Corey by the end of the episode. They were trying to have sex, and she's still suffering. So this was really a tough. That was definitely a tough scene to watch. It was very short, but I really felt for Jane in that predicament. So this was a very tough episode. So any thoughts on her, and how the heck is she going to overcome this?
Jeez.
I'm just sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with Ziggy, I almost felt like when she was driving and looking at him in the rearview mirror, I'm thinking like, should you just keep driving and like never come back here? Because like I almost wonder like, as I was saying before, like Celeste wants the boys not to be like Perry. I think that's what Jane wants too. And now I think Jane has to question like, oh no, now that these guys are like these boys are in their life, are they going to start rubbing off on him? Because I don't think this is something Ziggy would have done otherwise.
Right.
If the twins didn't come up to defend him, he would have been the one to get beat up. He wouldn't have
totally.
He had support, so he felt confident in beating up the bully.
Right.
But I think Ziggy's such a wise child compared to the other boys because the fact that he had the insight to ask his mom, "Am I gonna grow up like him?"
Yeah.
And he'd never even met his dad, so he just knows what he's heard. Versus the boys actually saw they didn't see everything that happened in the house, but they knew who their dad was, and they didn't have, at least what I think, they never thought to ask their mom, are we going to be like him? How can we not be like him? Where they're already exhibiting those qualities, and Ziggy wants to prevent that from happening because he doesn't want to be like a rapist or just an abuser. So I thought that was really
That's such
insightful.
a good point, because maybe because he's so aware, hopefully they won't like rub off on him
And that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier too, is just because Jane is such a good parent.
Yes.
And I think that kids really do see, and because she's so transparent with Ziggy, she's a really, really good mom. And like I said, Celeste, like, she doesn't open that door to talk about it at all. So the kids are like, can we ask about it, or is that territory that that should be closed doors? Like, Ziggy's just so well-rounded.
That's so
He's
interesting
just amazing.
that you say that, because maybe that shows like the different sides of like abuse, because like she was abused for so long and she wasn't able to talk about it, so maybe that's like a pattern of behavior that she now like just exhibits with like everybody in her life or something. Even with her kids, she like doesn't say things.
That's true, because even Jane, although her trauma has debilitated her life, she's very open to talk about it, even with her son, who's so young.
I think, and I think single parents, for sure, as you brought up transparency, you have to be transparent, because it's just you and the kid, you know?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was sorry, I got really excited. I was like, good point. But maybe I was going to say, it just made me think about it, but maybe that's why Celeste isn't open either, is because maybe if she does open the door and is transparent about it, she knows that all those feelings are going to come out, and she might not be able to come back from it, because that opens the door to her healing. And she doesn't want to fully heal yet. It may not even be about the kids.
Right.
So I take it back. Sorry, Celeste.
Well, something we did learn a lot about Bonnie in this episode. So I feel like her dad wishes that he could take it back, like the things that happened with their past. Because we come to find out through flashbacks that Bonnie's mom was abusive, and it's very interesting because in the books it was Bonnie's dad that was abusive. So they kind of did a switcheroo. I don't know why. Maybe just to kind of like. Because we already have like the violent abusive father, which was Perry, so maybe that's why they chose to kind of put that on a mother, a female character. So maybe that was the
Which
interpretation,
you don't see a lot.
right?
Yeah.
And it's it just goes to show that anyone can kind of be violent, and regardless of gender. So I thought that was really interesting for them to do that, but also I was here for it. So we have this also topic of Bonnie drowning through the vision. And I'm just curious for you guys, do you think the vision of Bonnie drowning, is that metaphorical or is that actually literal?
Literal.
Yeah. I was seeing it as like her mom's like a medium or a psychic and was like having a premonition. Like I literally thought after last episode, I was like, oh my gosh, Bonnie's going to commit suicide and she's going to like
think suicide?
Yeah.
I think it's suicide.
Maybe that's why her mom said kill me, because she doesn't want to have to
see that.
deal with the grief of losing her child. If she dies first, she can just avoid all of that.
You really
trauma.
think it's suicide?
That's just what I thought by the end of last episode.
No, that's a very good point, because this whole time, which I kind of still think, I'm thinking that someone's going to kill Bonnie or try to kill Bonnie.
Wow. Oh
and my earlier prediction was that Madeline was going to kill Bonnie.
I was just going to say, who do you think? Because it would have to be one of the Monterey Five, right?
Because
it would have
she's going to tell.
Because I feel like at some point...
because of Ed?
That's what I don't think that's going to happen now because of what Ed's doing now.
Right.
Madeline would never get her hands dirty.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
If she ever like tried to kill someone, it would not be that direct.
But... Sorry to backtrack.
Don't do it.
Speaking, because you just reminded me of this. Madeline did say to Ed that she will never they will never be. She will never
make the same.
All
type
her
of
future
mistake.
mistakes will be new ones.
Exactly. She's not going to make him go through infidelity anymore. So maybe her future mistake is like a violent.
Maybe because when you said that, I was like, oh, maybe she would plan up some murder because I think Bonnie's going to break. I think she'll be the one that breaks. So I thought maybe to protect herself and everybody else, somebody in the group would kill Bonnie.
I think that
I think she kills herself.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she definitely kills herself just because for me the mom to say like you're drowning and then we see all the visions. Remember when Bonnie was in the ocean and she was like walking? It reminded me of The Awakening. Did you guys read that in high school when she like goes into the water at the end and like drowns herself? Anyway, so I thought that she was in that episode. I think it was like the second episode. She was walking into the ocean and I thought she was gonna kill herself. So I think that by the end of the season, she might do it. Or maybe that's too obvious.
No, it's not obvious. I didn't see that.
Predictions.
So yeah, at first I thought this was all metaphorical, but now that I think that we're seeing this and it's more clear that it's a premonition, and again, I don't know anything, so I might be wrong, but I think it is a premonition that she's going to kill herself because we do see her walking in the water and then she's drowning. Yeah. I think now she won't kill herself by the end, but I think that's the plan. I don't know if
plot twist.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think there's a premonition because you know, like when you hear things that a psychic tells you or a medium tells you, you can change the future.
That's
it doesn't
true.
always happen. So I think the thought is she's having a premonition. Bonnie's going to kill herself, but now I think it's too obvious for the ending of this.
That is true.
I think because the twist was kind of obvious last season, they're going to do something completely flip the rug under us with this whole with the whole damn show. But I'm here for it because I'm loving all you guys' predictions. We'll have to get our full-on predictions ready later. But also, last thing before we get on to our special segment in our news, I do want to. Well, I guess that's more predictions because I was curious on your thoughts of Corey, Bonnie seeing Corey at the police department. I don't know. Should we save that predictions?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, I do want to ask real quick before we move on about Bonnie's father. What were your thoughts on Bonnie's father kind of being keeping peace between Bonnie growing up with her mom, because that was a huge topic between them, and there's clearly. Bonnie has some kind of grudge against her father because of that, because he didn't do anything. He just was kind of like the peacemaker. He didn't stand up to Bonnie's mom. And so, and I think that was it's part of the episode, not taking full action. So any thoughts on Bonnie's father? Because we finally got more backstory on him for sure.
I will say maybe, I mean, I want to say side with him. It's not that, but I think his apology was very genuine, and I think you touched on it perfectly before.
Do you think it was an apology?
Yeah, he was basically like, I'm sorry I wasn't there before, but like I did what I thought was the best. Like at that time, like I did what I could in the moment. But I think that, you know, it's hard, and like you said, like this whole, everything about gender, right? And you usually think like it's the male who's abusive, but like there's not many shows. And I mean, recently though, you think about, I mean, what's the show with on Hulu where the mom like abused
The Act.
Yeah, see, so I think we're seeing a lot more of like shows now where it's like a female who's abusive, a female like figurehead. But I don't know, it's just interesting. So I feel that it's hard. It's like a great area for him, right? Because he's like, maybe he was like, is she being abusive? Like, you don't see that a lot in stories. Not that it's okay at all.
Did she
But
abuse
I think
him?
maybe he was like, is this abuse? Like, how do I stop it? Do I keep it level? Like, I can see how that would be like hard.
Is it if I do something physically to restrain her, is that going to make things even worse?
Yeah.
And it's just a different predicament than any of the characters I've been in.
And I wonder if it was verbal abuse, because I think we automatically thought it was physical abuse.
Right.
And I mean, she did grab her.
She grabbed her.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have to like, you know, you have to discipline your kids. But I wonder if it was verbal abuse.
And that's,
so it's
that
like
could
more,
be just as bad and just
exactly.
as
toxic
as physical can be.
traumatizing.
They're both horrible.
Exactly. But he maybe didn't know how to approach it, which is weird.
Well, not to leave this discussion on a bad note. Let's put it on a good note. And that's our special segment with Mia Brabham.
So we're going to play this week Lie or Try, because we did the Why you always lie. I should harmonize. Okay, so we're going to play Lie or Try this week, which, as you know, we're just going to name 3 situations that happened in the episode, and we say whether we lie in that situation or whether we try to either fight it or go along with it, just depending on the situation. Okay. So first, custody of the kids. Would you, lie and go along with it? Like the lawyer, she was kind of like, just kind of like be amicable, like be as peaceful as possible, or would you fight like Celeste is doing? Would you try to get your kids?
Would it be the exact carbon copy
right. That's what
situation?
Yes.
That is so hard.
Yes?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I would probably, I might actually take the settlement route, honestly.
Really?
Same.
Yeah. I know, because if there's a murder, if I'm tied to a murder.
Right, and you're lying.
Ooh, and then you're dragging all those women into it on trial.
And
so right.
And the kids get to, I don't get to have, I'm free of kids on the weekends. Hell yeah.
Good deal. Take it, Celeste.
No,
Just
I agree.
saying.
Like, if the situation was different and the murder wasn't involved, then obviously, like, fight for the kids. But in this situation, like, you could lose the kids altogether by going into the whole murder trial stuff. So you have to just kind of sit back and do what the lawyer says, I think.
I was going to say that I would fight and go to court up until you guys mentioned the murder.
Me too. You guys sit back and down.
Same.
I am not about to let some old woman, she might be their grandma.
off.
I'm not about to let her take my kids when I'm clearly going through something. And that's why all this stuff is happening. I'm not unfit. I'm just dealing with stuff. So no.
Speak on it.
I'm so mad
Step
right
into
now.
your shoes.
Mary Louise is awful.
Yes.
But now that
is.
you mentioned the murder, that changes the whole
You drag
dynamic.
everybody into
Yeah.
it.
It's you want to clearly fight for your kids regardless.
Totally.
However, it's just super risky for not only you and your kids, but also all of these women.
Yeah.
All their
You know?
kids.
Yeah, because then you could ruin your life and everyone else's life.
Right.
Right.
It's true. Oh, goodness.
That was a good one.
So
It was. Oh, my brain is rattling. Okay. So 2, the couples retreat. So would you lie, just go along with it and like try to make things better? Or would you try and fight it and say, no, I'm not going? Like, no.
So in this case, we're Ed.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're there already?
Because
or?
this was Madeline's idea.
Before you go, because it's Madeline's
Before we
idea. Like,
go.
if your
All right.
significant other is like, let's go to couples retreat, let's make things better.
The petty and me would be like, heck no, you're the one why we're in this mess in the first place. You go ahead and do your solo retreat and I'll be here and decide if I still want to be with you or not.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're seeing it from Ed's. Because I wasn't thinking of it from Ed's. I'm just thinking just like the way you put it. I'd say yeah, but as soon as the hugging thing came, I'd be like,
weird.
I'm out. Bye.
That's hard because you want to obviously fight for your significant other and try to do anything possible to maintain a marriage, relationship, whatever. However, sometimes it takes some self-reflection and finding yourself by yourself in a sense of, you know, going like it's like that meme where you go like it's Kermit like looking at like a lake or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's gonna be me in the situation.
That is
And
Madeline.
I'd have to say, I'd have to say nope. Oh, that she was doing that.
Yeah.
If it was that exact couple retreat, how it was, no.
Well, guys, I was an orientation leader in college. I'm lame. Like, when we were watching the show, you were like, I would never do that icebreaker. I was like, I love an icebreaker. So I would go. Like, if she's paying, if Madeline's paying, take me on this retreat. I'll do anything. But then I think that'd be a real truth teller is if you can work through your problems and you're actually trying, then you can maybe get past it. But if you go and you're hitting a brick wall at a retreat, maybe not.
That's
then at that point I'd give up.
That's true. Because then you're sabotaging.
Sabotaging. Right. Yes. Okay, and then 3. If your ex's new partner attacked you, would you, like lie, like like nothing happened, and be like, dude, like it's fine, like we can get over it, like we can get past this, just don't talk to me, kind of like what Ed did. Just be like, it's cool, we can not like each other, drive away. Or would you try? Would you fight back?
I would
fight back?
Drag a bitch. I don't F around. No. My ex's significant other. No, you don't
come near me.
Don't put your hands on me. That's not okay. Crossing a line, absolutely, especially since crossing a line in general of getting physical, not okay. But to put more, just to salt on the wound of you're my ex's significant other and you're coming for me for what? I'm not doing anything to provoke you.
Yeah.
At least in that situation.
Totally.
So absolutely would defend myself at all costs because it's not all right.
I think Nathan's looking for a reaction, so he wants you to respond. So
you don't like him.
No, not at all. The wise part of me would just be like, don't react. Like I feel like the theme of this episode was to not react because you just keep encouraging the animosity. But in that moment, if someone's coming at me, I'm not gonna let you think that I'm gonna be some little victim and you can sit there and intimidate me. So I would fight back. Maybe not with my hands, but with my words.
A drink.
That too. Or ice cream.
Tripping.
Something.
Yeah, ice cream.
Yeah.
I think I would fight back.
Yeah. With some hands?
Only if I could win, though. It depends on how big they were. I don't know if I can fight. I've never fought before, so I kind of always wanted to just to know, like, I'm a bad bitch. But, like, but no.
Fight or flight, man, dude.
Yeah, right?
I'd have to be in the moment to decide. I'll leave it at that. What about
Maybe
you?
if alcohol's involved. I feel like when alcohol and adrenaline mix, you can do anything. Yeah.
So I was originally like, oh, I'd throw down, but then after you said, like, Nathan is, like, kind of looking for a response, if you know what they're looking for, then you ought, like, I like to do the opposite of.
Exactly.
So, although I wanted Ed to, like, run him over with his little bike, I'm glad he didn't. So
Exactly.
I would probably throw down, but, you
I
know.
love this. I love that. This is why conversation is important, right? Because we all had different answers when we start, and then someone says something, and you're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
wait, maybe.
I know.
Ooh. This is why we need friends, and why the moderators need each other to
Right.
talk each other
Totally.
down
Bounce.
from some stupid
Yes.
shit.
Sounding board.
Monterey
So,
4, man.
Brad, tell us in the comments. We read the comments
you
like we
think?
said. Live chat. Tell us what you do in these situations. We want to know.
Yes.
Thanks.
Absolutely. See, now I'm second guessing my decision. I'm like, the reaction of the episode. Like, do you want to give them their reaction? But anyways, let's get on to some news and gossip, right, Jessie?
Yes. So if you are on Twitter, Shailene Woodley, her character Jane is getting like torn up because her bangs are like the talk of like the show.
No.
So she actually says that she cut those bangs herself.
What?
And the reason was because she wanted to she wanted a change in her look to symbolize the weight being lifted off her shoulders. So she said that, you know, I've been in a position in my life where after a major breakup, triumph, or celebration, or after a big change, a lot of people alter the way that they look. So she decided, she said, I know for myself, it's always been haircuts and piercings. That's been my way of moving forward with a new chapter of my life. So she said, I felt that for Jane, she carried this weight of not only feeling her own body because the feeling not only in her own body because of what happened to her over 8 years ago, but she also felt disconnected from her own identity. So she felt a change in her hair would symbolize the weight being lifted off her shoulders, and so she chopped herself some bangs.
At first, I didn't understand because I was like, how do bangs represent lifting weight from your shoulder? But now that I think about it, every time in college, every time I go through a hard time, I get bangs.
Really? You wouldn't cut your hair?
And then I would change my I have a stud. I would change it to a hoop. So she's right. I take back my laughter.
But I just would prefer better looking bangs.
Okay.
Or like just a new hairstyle altogether or something, you know, like dye your hair or the bangs is interesting.
I do think that's really beautiful. I'm glad you shared that because I feel like that's so relatable. We try to because we try to transform ourselves physically through, and that physical transformation will help us internally transform as well.
Yeah, to control over some aspect of yourself.
It's empowering.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a weird. I didn't know that it was her choice to do that.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Isn't that cool?
I like that.
Meryl got new teeth. Shailene got new hair.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Any more? Was that the news? Well, that was plenty of news and gossip. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Jessie.
Yeah.
But we have to get to predicting because
Yes.
I already brought it up.
Your AfterBuzz TV news.
So, okay. Predictions. I already brought it up. Corey, Bonnie saw him at the snooping around the police department. So should we just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who wants to go? Because that is the hot topic right
I mean,
at
I
this
have
point.
like a million things
Yeah.
to
Yes.
think.
Jessie, take it away.
Okay, so first, initially, I was like, oh my gosh, she's working with the cops, and like he's undercover, like, and he's going to Jane and trying to break her and give information. But now, thinking about it as I'm been just like thinking about the whole thing more, now I'm wondering if that scene that they had where she started breaking down and she was crying, I wonder if she told him, not everything. I don't think she told him everything, but I think she might have told him about Perry being Ziggy's dad and whatever, and he's like, oh my God, because he already at the beginning said, aren't you part of that Monterey 5? And she's like, what? And he's like, you were there the day that guy died. And so now he's putting two and two together, and he's like, oh my gosh, she was raped by him. She was there when he died. Like, how does that happen, right?
She killed him.
So
Hence,
I think he's going to the cops to give them information.
So, but you don't think he's a cop?
So I don't know now.
private.
Those are my two theories.
Okay, so either he is an informant for them,
Yes.
or he
Or-
made the connection and reported back to the police.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so my predictions are about different topics. I think that the kids are going to go when they do the trial. I think the twins are going to be like, our mom mom told us that we need to live with her. Because transparency, Celeste. She didn't say, like, she's doing wrong. And then I think that we talked about this, but the ice cream, and as soon as I saw Madeline with the ice cream, I was like, it's happening!
Yeah.
It's happening! Because we all know, like, 3 months ago when, like, they were shooting, those photos got released of, and it was in action. Madeline was throwing the ice cream at Meryl Streep. So I think that it's going to pick up there next episode. Like, I think we're going to see some ice cream throwing because we didn't get to see the rest of that scene.
Yeah, Paloma Souza in the live chat said, "Why didn't Madeline throw the ice cream?" So other
It's
people
coming.
are wondering
Oh my gosh,
what
I
happened.
hope
And
it's
that's
coming.
the tea.
All right.
Yeah.
Simone, what about you? Any thoughts?
I think Ed he's checked out. He's trying, but emotionally it's really hard for him to gain back his trust fully, which I think is completely reasonable. So either that couple, they're swingers and they just want to, have a little threesome, and maybe Ed could dip his toe in it, try it out.
Gotta get over it. Under it to get over it. What?
Or-
That was bad.
Or the girl was sloppy and didn't realize her husband was there, and they're still gonna
I love Simone because she doesn't mean to throw shade. She's like, or that girl's sloppy.
they're gonna have a little rendezvous, and he's gonna cheat on Madeline, so it's gonna be tit for tat.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it. I live for predictions. I have no clue what's happening. I don't know this show constantly is all my theories are wrong. I was thinking Madeline's gonna kill Bonnie, so I'm just not gonna predict anymore, okay? No, I will. Maybe next week, but I really have no clue what's happening. But if you guys are listening, watching us, please let us know your predictions and get those comments going. DM us, whatever. We love talking about the show.
Yes.
Every single week. And we only have 2 more episodes left, right?
No, it's so sad.
Well, until next time, where can I find my wonderful panel on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me at Simone A. Thomas on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at yours truly Mia on Instagram, Hot Mess Mia on Twitter, and I also have a YouTube channel, so follow me. Comment below. Yeah.
And I'm Jessie Zahner. You can find me all over social media at Athletic.
Oh, I love you guys so much.
We love you.
This is actually, I think, our last time all 4 of us
Together.
yeah, just due to
Summer,
schedules.
travel's hard.
It's
but
hard, but until
Where
then.
can they find you?
Oh. I was just about to pick. I am your host, Ollie Drennan. You can find me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Until then, we will see you for Big Little Lies, episode 6.
Yes. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.